Cinderella, directed by Kenneth Branagh, is the story of young Ella, played by Lily James, whose father remarries following the death of her mother. Good-hearted Ella readily welcomes her new stepmother, Lady Tremaine, played by Kate Blanchett, and her daughters Anastasia and Drizella. But when Ella's father unexpectedly passes away, she is relegated to nothing more than a servant girl and spitefully renamed Cinderella. But young Ella is determined to honor her mother's dying words and to have courage and be kind. When she meets a handsome stranger in the forest one day, little does she realize that he is a prince who one day she will eventually marry.
This is the most filmed story in the world, arguably so. Everyone knows what this fairy tale is about. I think most people do. The little kids now will perhaps learn it from this movie, or they've already learned it in their school. So I was wondering what is so new about this film. And the first is, of course, I'd forgotten so much of the storyline. Firstly, I didn't know that her actual name was Ella and not Cinderella, and because of the Cinder Fires, how she got that name, I'd forgotten that part. And also I'd forgotten so many other portions of this film. So one is a great reminder, because it's been a while since I read Cinderella as a child. Secondly, it puts a human face to a story that is otherwise animation. It does a great mix of doing that with some really fine performances. So I wasn't personally disappointed. What did you think?
Oh, I have to say, I thought Kenneth Branagh, Shakespearean author, all of that, what is he going to bring to the table that is new and fresh? And what was new and fresh was that it was a completely faithful replication of the fantastic fairy tale. And the fact that this fairy tale has endured these many hundreds of years is because it is a timeless classic. And not to reinterpret this, but in fact to do a faithful telling with all the CGI, with all the production values, with all the resources at your disposal, I think is sheer genius. We have all these Disney heroines playing kung fu, kick-ass women and all of that. This is Cinderella in its truest sense. She has a sense of identity, she has a sense of self-worth, but she is kind and compassionate, and this is the message that it's sending out to the kids of today, and I think that's more than enough.
Well, so far as oh my god moments are concerned, Fahad, I think the OMG moment really came from within me rather than from the film itself. I'm presuming not too many kids watch this show, and adults do. I hope adults do, because we tend to talk about a lot more adult films, and therefore this whole idea behind Cinderella, which is to have courage and be kind. And I was looking at that thing play out, and I was thinking, does that necessarily mean that you must take hell for a living? And this is the cynicism that happens when you're much older but watching a fairy tale. But so far as the filmmaking itself is concerned, I was quite blown by the merging of real images with animated images, and I think there are some portions which are so beautifully done, especially the golden carriage. I fell in love with that one.
Exactly. I mean, classic, to see that pumpkin actually transform. And don't forget that the actual Cinderella Disney classic was made 65 years ago. So, it has endured beautifully, and yes, it's probably was time to do it. Great performances with, Lily Allen and all of them, Stellan Skarsgård, a whole bunch of fantastic ensemble cast again. I think the oh my god for me is Kate Blanchett, because she is so mercurial in anything that she does, and she plays the, the wicked stepmother and Lady Tremaine, but to imbue her also with humanity despite all the campiness. And again, I think what is a fantastic tribute to the 1940s heroines, with ace costume designer Sandy Powell. It harks back to the 1940s heroines, and there's a very tragic scene where she's on the staircase, and it completely reminded me of Norma Desmond from Sunset Boulevard. Again, just the iconic tragic figures. And really, so to give even these kind of pure villain vamps of the piece some humanity is wonderful storytelling.
Well, this is a simple story, very old story, but very simply told. It's a very, very faithful adaptation. It's a children's film, which also makes it a family film. I see no reason why you shouldn't go to the theatre and catch it.
I strongly agree with Mayank. This is a film that you need to watch. Mothers and daughters may have a particularly good time and a bonding moment if they go and see this film together. But regardless of how old you are, this is probably a film that you should see. Theatre mein dekho aur isi hafte dekho.